Israel Gaza Iran War News Live Update. Israel bombards Daraa after a rocket lands in occupied Golan. According to the New Arabs Al Arabi Al Jadid, Israeli bombardment hit Daraa province in southern Syria. The Syrian media activist group Horan Free League, HFL, reported that armed groups fired a Soviet-era Katyusha missile from Daraa toward Golan. Israeli occupation artillery replied by shelling Tel al-Jabiya and Tel al-Jamua, west of Nawaa, the organization stated. The New Arab cannot verify these statements. The UN Security Council declared the 1981 Israeli annexation of the Golan Heights null and void since Israel had illegally occupied Syrian territory since 1967. After a rocket hit the Golan from Tel al-Jamua, Israeli fire targeted Hezbollah and Syrian regime military installations on March 16. Iran supports Hezbollah and Syria. The Houthis, an Iranian-backed Yemeni rebel organization, and Hezbollah have been escalating their armed conflict with Israel despite its brutal assault on Gaza, which has killed over 33,200 Palestinians. In January, the ICJ said Israel was likely violating the Genocide Convention in Gaza. Last week, Israel targeted Iran's Damascus consulate, killing senior military commander Mohammad Reza Zahedi and 6 other IRGC officers. Israel bombards Daraa after rocket falls in occupied Golan. Iran's foreign minister, Hossein Amir-Abdollahian, launched a replacement consulate on Monday. Iran said it will reply to the strike, and one official said Israeli embassies were at risk. Syria's defense ministry said Syrian air defenses knocked down Israeli rockets from the Golan Heights, targeting a rural building on Thursday. Israel has been bombing Iran-linked sites in Syria for years, but Hamas' October 7 attack on Israeli territory has increased them. An Israeli raid on the Iranian embassy compound in Damascus on April 1 killed a top Revolutionary Guards Corps commander and several military commanders, marking Iran's first direct attack on Israel. The U.S. Navy says Yemen's Houthi rebels likely fired an Iranian-made anti-ship cruise missile at a Norwegian-flagged tanker in the Red Sea in December, establishing a public, evidence-based link between the rebel campaign against shipping and Tehran. The U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency traced the Strinda's fire to Tehran, the Houthis' major backer in Yemen's almost decade-long war, in a Wednesday report. The findings match those of a Norwegian insurer that analyzed Strinda debris. As the Houthis continue their months-long campaign of attacks over the Israel-Hamas war, they target ships in the Red Sea waterway, disrupting the $1 trillion annual flow of goods and prompting the most intense U.S. Navy fighting since World War II. Iran's UN envoy denied arming the Houthis to the Associated Press. "We are aware that the Houthis have greatly strengthened their military capabilities relying on their own sources," the mission added. "The lengthy struggle against them is the main reason their military power has grown." A missile hit the Strinda December 11 while it was leaving Malaysia for the Suez Canal and Italy with palm oil. The crew doused a big fire on board after the attack without injury. The U.S. military examined board debris. The DIA linked the missile engine elements to the Iranian Noor anti-ship ballistic cruise missile. According to the DIA analysis, the Noor missile's Iranian Tolu-4 turbojet engines compressor stage and stator are consistent with engine debris from the Houthi attack on the M/T Strinda. Stator is an engine's stationary part. Iran showcased a Tolu-4 engine at the 2017 International Air and Space Show in Russia, the DIA claimed. The engines looked same in photos. Iran reverse-engineered the Noor from the Chinese C-802 anti-ship missile, which it bought from Beijing in 1996 and tested before U.S. pressure stopped deliveries. The update Qatar has a range of 300 kilometers, 185 miles, whereas the Iranian version has 170 kilometers, 105 miles. The Houthis' Al-Mandeb 2 missile has a similar range to the Qatar. After the Strinda attack, DNK investigated the debris. The organization considered it highly likely that a C-802 or Noor cruise missile hit the ship. Yemen had no C-802 missiles when the Houthis took Sana'a in 2014. In 2015, the Saudi-led coalition entered Yemen's conflict on behalf of its exiled government, targeting the Houthis' weapons. New missiles entered rebel hands, despite Yemen's lack of missile production infrastructure. Iran has denied arming the Houthis, perhaps due to a years-long UN arms ban. US and allied forces have intercepted repeated arms shipments to rebels in Mideast waters. Weapons specialists also traced Houthi combat arms to Iran. The US has accused Iran of supplying the Houthis naval missiles, but Wednesday's revelation gave visual proof. The article cited a seizure after a January 11 nighttime operation on an Iranian dhow near Somalia that killed 2 Navy SEALs. The Navy seized Noor anti-ship cruise missile pieces, the report said. Since 2016, the Houthis have launched seaborne strikes, firing a missile at the Emirati warship Swift, one as it cruised between an Eritrea and Yemen army base in the Red Sea. They attempted to strike the Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer USS Mason at the same time. But since November, Houthi strikes over the Israel-Hamas Gaza war have risen dramatically. The rebels have fired missiles and drones at almost 70 warships, killing 4 sailors. They've since taken 1 ship and sank 2. The Houthis say they attack ships linked to Israel, the US, or Britain to support Hamas in its struggle against Israel. Many of the ships assaulted are unrelated to the fighting, including some destined for Iran, which supports the Houthis. The Houthis probably have utilized Iran-supplied weaponry to conduct more than 100 assaults against land-based targets in Israel, Saudi Arabia, the UAE,